We're live. Good morning. This is the New York City Board of Standards and Appeals Public Review Session for October 17, 2022. There is no public testimony during this review session. The first item up is for deferral, item number 201-97BZ, 11902 Rockaway Boulevard, Queens.
I want to say something about this case. The application was heard in March. That was initial hearing. It was deferred once, and now the applicant is requesting a deferral till winter of 2023. I'm assuming that's January of 2023. Now, the kind of improvements that were asked were not significant. So I'm hoping that the applicant is going to use all this time to make all the improvements prior to the winter. And specifically, some of them were related to prior board conditions. Those have to be addressed. Thank you.
Okay. Postponements. Item number 615-57BZ, 15411 Horace Harding Expressway, Queens. This is being postponed for failure to notify. Item number 3, 2017-131BZ, 7779 Jerry Street, Brooklyn. They did not do notice. Decision items. Item number 4, 52358BZ, 11730 Farmers Boulevard, Queens.
Okay. The application was closed on July 18th. The applicant has revised the plan and has provided a clarification as to why above ground planters cannot be provided along a portion of the side lot line. Photos have been provided of the improvements made to the site. This subject site should be monitored for compliance. So with that, I would make a recommendation to approve with the following conditions: that the signage shall comply with the underlying zoning regulations and for DOB to ensure compliance. No sales of automobiles on the site shall be permitted. There shall be no vehicles parked on the sidewalks. All light sources that are located on the lot line adjacent to residential use shall be shielded from direct view and to minimize any adverse effect on surrounding residences. And the site shall be maintained and landscaping shall be provided and maintained per approved plan. With that, motion to approve.
Vice Chair Chanda.
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown.
Aye.
Commissioner Shetta.
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta.
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Abstain.
The application has been granted. Item number 5, 803-61BZ, 1416 Highland Boulevard, Staten Island.
Okay. Just give me a second. So I make a motion to approve with the following conditions: that the improvements to the site shall be completed prior to securing a CO, and the certificate of occupancy shall be obtained within 18 months. All lighting sources that are located on the lot line adjacent to residential use shall be shielded from direct view and to minimize any adverse effects on surrounding residences. With that, motion to approve.
Vice Chair Chanda.
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown.
Aye.
Commissioner Shetta.
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta.
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Application has been granted. Item number 6, 548-69BZ, 107-10 Astoria Boulevard, Queens.
I make a motion to approve, and the operational plan shall be included in the resolution.
Vice Chair Chanda.
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown.
Aye.
Commissioner Shetta.
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta.
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Application has been granted. Item number 7, 129-92BZ, 150-55 Cross Island Parkway. We have to defer this. We have not received the ZRD1 from Department of Buildings regarding the canopy.
Okay.
Okay. Item number 8, 21613BZ, 750 Barclay Avenue, Staten Island.
There was no submission requirement. Approve. Motion to approve.
Vice Chair Chanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Application has been granted. Item number 9, 10215A, 1088 Rossville Avenue, Staten Island.
The application was closed and the applicant needed to revise the project timeline, which has been provided. Motion to approve.
Vice Chair Chanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Oops, sorry, give me one second. Item number 10, 2017-299BZ, 242-02, 61st Avenue, Queens.
So we received a community board recommendation and the community board voted to approve the project. Make a motion to approve.
Vice Chair Chanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Application has been granted. Item number 11, 17090, sorry, Lakers. Item number 11, 17093A, 220 Industrial Loop, Staten Island.
We were waiting for a DEP sign off and we have received that I think we received that on September 29th, and a revised site plan has been submitted in response to DEP's comments, providing a 15-foot easement that shall be maintained between the existing storm sewer and the proposed building. So make a motion to approve.
Vice Chair Chanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown.
Aye.
Oh, just a little, Commissioner Otley Brown, you sort of fade out a little bit. Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Abstain.
Application has been granted. Item number 12, 2020-67A, 1 Ballard Avenue, Staten Island, will receive DEP sign off.
Yes. So that was the last element that we were waiting for. So I make a motion to approve with the following conditions, and these are need to obtain approval for subdivision from the Department of City Planning. Any street, tree, or ramp must be more than 7 foot from the curb cut as stated in the DOT letter. Pedestrian ramp adjacent to the subject site must comply with the ADA and DOT requirements pursuant to an approved BPP. And the resolution should include that DOB shall review the BSA approved plans for compliance with all applicable provisions of the zoning resolution as if the unbuilt portion of the subject street was not mapped. So with that, motion to approve.
Vice Chair Chanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Abstain.
Application has been granted. Item number 13, 2021-2A through 2021-7A. This is 9921 Hollis Avenue, Queens. Also
So
known
the
as-
Right,
Go
so
ahead.
the application was closed and the board was waiting for comments from DOT, which we did receive on 13th of October. And the comments provided by DOB would require a revised site plan and a builder's pavement plan. So the decision will be deferred until the plans are revised and approved by DOT.
Okay. Item number 14, 2022-17A, 27 Stewart Avenue, Brooklyn.
Okay, just give me a second. There was no submission requirement. Motion to approve.
Vice Chair Chanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta.
Aye.
Can you repeat that, Commissioner?
Sure. Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Shabeta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Application has been granted. New cases, special order calendar. Item number 15, sorry, excuse me. Item number 15, 24532BZ, 12305, 101st Avenue, Queens. This is an extension of term for an automotive repair facility and an amendment to increase parking and change of the hours of operation.
Okay. We have received, excuse me, we have received proof of service of initial filing and proof of hearing. Community Board has approved the extension of term and the amendment to increase the number of parking spaces and to extend the hours of operation. As mentioned, this is an application for an extension of term for a continued use of an automotive repair shop with office, which expired on June 9th, 2022, and an amendment of the prior board conditions. So this application has been before the board since 1932. The applicant has provided a compliance chart. The applicant is proposing to maintain the same operation with a minor change in the hours of operation. The current hours of operation is from Mondays to Fridays, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and closed on Saturday and Sunday. The prior grant was from Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. closed on Sunday. So the applicant is proposing to maintain the current operation, which would eliminate any work on Saturday and Sunday, but increase the hours of operations on Monday to Friday, starting a little bit early from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And the community was supportive of this hour of change. With regards to the number of parking spaces, per the last board approval from 2014, it was limited to 4 parking spaces, whereas 10 is existing on the site. So the applicant is proposing to amend the site plan to allow for 10 existing parking spaces. What to me was not clear from the additional photos that were provided is if trucks are parked on the side lot abutting the residential home on lot 34. And this is from the Google Street View. It also seems there are box trucks that are parked along that lot 34. And as part of the prior board condition, no truck parking was permitted on the site. So I would like the applicant to clarify, since the photographs were a little confusing and maybe I'm misreading the Google Street View. A note should be added on the Lumen plan that all light sources that are located on the lot line adjacent to residential use shall be shielded from direct view and to minimize any adverse effect on surrounding residences. With regards to the signage, the total existing signage is 169.7 square feet. I want the applicant to clarify if this includes both street frontages. The prior board had conditioned a total signage of 150 square foot plus, and I think 50 square foot, 101 street and 111 square foot, 123. So the, it would be less than what was approved, but I just wanted to make sure I'm reading 169 square foot, because since it's a corner lot, zoning would require only up to 150 square foot per frontage. So that's why I'm asking that question. I would like the applicant to provide some site photos of the rear lot condition abutting the residential lot. But apart from that, I do not have any comments at this point. Commissioner Otley Brown.
So I noticed from the photos that there's barbed wire on all fences. And I know that a previous board did approve the site plan showing the barbed wire, but it does lend an institutional kind of air to this site. And I was wondering if they could come up with a more creative or nuanced way of monitoring the site without having it look like it's a prison encampment. So I'm inviting them to come up with an alternative idea to the barbed wire.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Commissioner Shetta.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to say yes, regarding the trucks parking on the adjacent lot. I did visit the site. Let me show one of the pictures that I took there. Just give me 1 second. Bear with me. Yeah, this one. You can see that there are trucks parking inside. This is not a PCU. This is a truck, and it's parking all the way out.
Okay.
This is on this facade. I have witnessed actually cars parking on this side of the street, awaiting repair and moving. Somebody came out and drove them in to get repaired. If you look at the other side, these cars are kind of like extruding on the sidewalk. These cars are definitely parking on the sidewalks.
No
And
plates
sorry,
on either.
Commissioner Shetta, for the record, would you just say what you're showing on your screen?
Yes,
Are
these are cars parking on the sidewalk next to the facility. I believe these are awaiting repair as well. If you look at this picture here, you can see clearly that the side lot here has trucks parking on that lot. It's not PCU, passenger car units, or like small cars awaiting repair or so. I do believe that these trucks are like using the space as a rental parking maybe, but I'm not sure about that. But this is the only explanations for like these trucks parking here. So that's what I witnessed on site when I visited the site like 10 days ago.
And these are your photos, and you'll submit them to the project manager.
These are my photos. I can forward them to the project manager immediately. Yes.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think with regards to, thank you, Commissioner Shetta. I think with regards to the vehicles that are parked on the sidewalk along 101st Street, there is another operation next to the subject site, which also seems to have a lot of vehicles parked within its facility. And I'm not sure whether those vehicles belong to the subject site or the, I'm not talking about the ones that are parked perpendicular to the building. I'm talking about the ones that are parked next to the site. So our focus should be just on the vehicles that are parked along the subject site that are perpendicular to the building along 101st Street.
That's
right?
correct. Let me that's correct. Let me just show one thing, and I would like the applicant to respond if I'm not correct about that. These two doors are the doors where the cars were parking at. To be honest, one of the, like a minivan was parking here. You see this spot here, and then there are like another two cars parking here, and then in this area here, this is the side that like the really clear sidewalk parking was in this area. I believe the other facility is way beyond that line. It's probably like at least 50 feet that direction. So that like led me to be under impression that whatever car is parking in this area is actually awaiting repair for that shop. On the other side, I wouldn't say that the cars were awaiting repair parking on the street unless I saw a person coming out from the mechanic shop. He came out, he got into one of these cars, and he started driving inside to repair it. I took a video for that, but I didn't lose that video later on.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
I think the applicant during the hearing should provide more clarification and also provide an operational plan of the activities on this site. Okay, thank you. Commissioner Shibata.
Thank you, Vice Chair. So I'm supportive of this application, and I'm supportive of the amendment, the extension and the amendment. There's clear, as has been stated by the other commissioners, there's clearly a overflow issue with this use, and that's evidenced by their photos, the Google photos, and site visits. And they need to. I would ask that they address that. And there are some vehicles that seem that they have a history at that site, including one of the vans that one of the vans in the photo that's on the sidewalk. I've seen that van in other photographs, and so I'd like to know what is that van and why. I didn't see the tally for the community board vote. I just saw that they approved. I want to know if there was any objections to it.
I think yeah, I don't think the community board did have a tally. That is, I think it was a letter that we received.
So we usually get a tally if there's a reason why they're not giving us one or something.
I'm sure
Right.
I will reach out to the community board and clarify that for you if you wish.
And I have no further questions.
Thank you. Commissioner Yoon.
Thank you. Sorry, hold on just a second. Sorry about that. I also went to see the site, and I had similar comments as Commissioner Sheda. One thing I wanted to mention that's on their proposed plans is, Vice Chair, you mentioned that they need to add the plan about shielding lighting from adjacent residential uses. There is a note on the plan that's bubbled that says that all lights will be turned off outside of operating hours. And I thought we could clarify that it's not that they have to be shut off during operating hours if there's a concern for safety, but that if there are any adjacent residential uses that they'd be shielded from that one house, I think on 126th. So just to be clear to the applicant that we're not requiring that the lights are off outside of operating hours, but that they don't provide any nuisance to the residents adjacent.
Yes. I agree with you there. Thank you, Commissioner Yoon, for pointing that out. Yes, I think the whole intent is to make sure that the site remains secured, at the same time is not a nuisance. So if there's a way to strike a balance, I'll be more than happy to hear from it. And if the applicant still chooses to turn the lights off, that's fine. But I wanted to be very clear about what their intentions are. Thank you.
And then, no problem. And then to add to the barbed wire comment from Commissioner Otley Brown, I did see the barbed wire. The adjacent automotive uses that surround this site have lots of overhanging curled barbed wire, which is honestly quite a bit worse. Not saying that because it's less worse, it's okay, but certainly they responded to previous board comments about having no overhanging barbed wire. And I will say that is at least an improvement to some of their neighbors. The other thing I noticed is that I was there during the time when children are let out of school. It is a highly pedestrian street with lots of children and families. And so any encroachment onto the sidewalks is obviously prohibited, but extra care should be taken as this is a very active pedestrian corridor for families and children. I think that's all the comments that I have, in addition to what has been stated previously. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
I still want the applicant to address the barbed wire. I think being a little bit better than your neighbor is not a good enough standard.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Otley Brown, you just froze for a brief second. Did you finish your statement?
Yes, finished.
Okay, all right. Okay, let's move on.
Item number 16, 346 60BZ 211 Scott Street, Brooklyn. This is an amendment for a previously approved automotive service station, and the amendment seeks to permit the conversion of automobile repair bays to accessory convenience store and incidental alterations to the site.
Yes, thank you. We have received proof of service of initial filing and proof of hearing. Community board has voted to approve the project. As mentioned, this is an application to amend the prior approved plan to convert an automotive repair and gasoline service station to a gasoline service station with an accessory convenience store. This is a corner lot site. It has been part of BSA. It has been under BSA jurisdiction since 1960. The applicants state that the lot area has not increased since 1961. So in lieu of a tax map that was provided, can a Sanborn map be provided to confirm that the lot area has not increased? Because I wasn't quite sure how the tax map responded to the question that the lot area has not increased. Any other form of explanation would be helpful. I'm not saying it has to be Sanborn, anything that would be helpful for me. I was not able to locate a compliance chart, so if anybody has, please let me know. The applicant is not proposing to enlarge the existing building. It's just proposing to provide a convenience store, and that needs to comply with TPPN 1099. The proposed area of selling is 1,155 square feet, which is less than what the maximum is permitted. The applicant needs to provide the hours of operations for both the gasoline service station and the convenience store. Applicant is proposing landscaping along Dumont Avenue. Need to provide a little bit more detail as to the nature of planting. Will it be in ground or above? The lumen count, it's not clear if any outdoor lighting is being proposed. The plan should indicate the location of the light fixtures and needs to ensure that all lighting sources that are located on the lot line adjacent to residential use shall be shielded from direct view and to minimize any adverse effect on surrounding residences. The applicant also should add a note to the plan that signage shall comply with C2 zoning regulations. The proposed garbage enclosure has been shown. It would be along the commercial building. It will be outdoors commercial building, but it would be behind a steel gated cedar picket fence enclosure. So the applicant is proposing to improve the entire site, which is great. It will have one nice comprehensive look. I would only request, since the applicant is proposing to eliminate one of the curb cuts. So I would recommend if the applicant can provide a street tree, work with City of New York to provide a street tree along Dumont Avenue towards the eastern end of the site. So those are my comments. Commissioner Artley Brown.
I have no comments about this site and have no problem with their conversion to a convenience store that meets the findings of TPPN 1099 in that it has a selling floor of 1,155 square feet on a lot that's 9,383 square feet. And so the selling floor is less than 25% or 2,500 square feet, and therefore that's fine.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Shetta.
Thank you, Chair. I also have no issue with the application regarding the transformation, the conversion to a convenience store. I second the comment about the lighting, the locations for the light poles. If any changes from the existing should be indicated on the plans, and the luminous spread should be indicated as well, with the note that says that no impact from lighting on adjacent residences. And in addition to that, if you look at Google image, I have seen on one of the Google street views, I've seen a sign that says available parking spaces or parking space available. I'm not sure if they used to rent parking. I'm talking about the part of the lot at the corner, the almost square part at the, I believe this is the south east portion of the lot. If I need them to clarify whether they used to rent parking spaces there, and if the answer is yes or no, we need to get an assurance from them that they are not going to be renting parking spaces over the entire site. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. Commissioner Shibata.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I second the comments made by my colleagues. The only additional comment, I'm not sure if I heard, was that there is some graffiti on the site that I asked that it be cleaned up.
Okay. I'm assuming since this is a complete overhaul of the site and almost like a new structure that is being proposed with the new facade. So hopefully all of those should be incorporated, duly noted, and we will ask the applicant to take care of that. Commissioner Yoon. Thank you, Commissioner Shibata.
Thank you. Yes, I went to the site and I saw the graffiti, so I would second that we have at least a note added that all of the graffiti on existing buildings and adjacent building sidewalls should be removed. There was a car parked on the sidewalk along Dumont that should not be parked there. Adjacent to that is an existing chain link fence with curled barbed wire. On the plans, it indicates that that fence will be removed for convenience store parking. So there isn't a need to also note the removal of barbed wire, but perhaps we should suggest that there is no curled barbed wire or any barbed wire used at the site upon its renovation. And then also, let's see, overhanging barbed wire. The one thing I thought might be helpful is because of the addition of convenience parking, 3 parking spots adjacent to the multifamily residential lot, that the applicant should add a note to add signage to keep noise to a minimum when idling or parked at the convenience store.
Add a note to the signage that lower the volume. Okay.
Yes, yes.
So this is for vehicles that are idling while a person goes in and quickly picks up something. So basically, they should keep the engine off. And which is good for the environment. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. All right, yes.
Item number 17, 112 BZ. This is 2994 Cropsey Avenue, Brooklyn. This is an extension of term of a previously approved variance permitting the operation of a scrap metal yard, which expired on June 5th, 2022.
All right. So we have received proof of service of initial filing and proof of hearing. Community board has voted unanimously to approve this project. As mentioned, this is an extension of term for continued operation of a scrap metal. There's only one little minor mistake in this, and that is the BSA zoning analysis chart has an incorrect lot area. So that should be corrected. In terms of this site has been under BSA jurisdiction since 1964. The compliance chart has been provided. Applicant is not proposing any changes. The site is in an excellent condition, I have to say. So I really have no comments. I'm very happy to see that the applicant is maintaining the site and abiding by all the prior board ground conditions. Commissioner Otley-Brown.
I looked at the photos of the site. I have not been there this time around. I was here for the previous time this property came through the BSA, and it does look like there might be graffiti on one of the walls that is behind the trees. If that is the case, it'd be great if they just paint the wall and get rid of that graffiti, because that was one of our conditions, that the graffiti be taken care of. And it looks as if from the photos that the scrap metal does not go above the height of the fence, which was a major issue the first time we looked at this site. So it's good to see that they are adhering to that condition in particular. And I just have a question. They say there are 2 signs that are non-illuminated, but it looks like one of the signs wraps around the building. And are they counting that wrapped sign as one sign? Because I think I see another sign, although I do know that this is a C8, so we don't have the same very stringent signage requirements of C1, but I still would like that clarification, because they are saying 2 signs and not 3.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Shetta.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I have no comments on this application.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Shibata.
No further. Thank you, Vice Chair. No further comments.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Yoon.
Thank you. I did go to the site and I saw graffiti only on the creek side of the property. Otherwise, it looked like it had been recently painted over and did look indeed very well maintained. So the graffiti on the creek side should be dealt with and painted over. And the only signs I saw was that one wraparound sign that looks about the same size on both Cropsey and on the corner side street. I walked the entire perimeter. I didn't see any additional signage. So I second the Vice Chair's comment about the maintenance of the site. It was also very actively monitored by flagmen who were dealing with all of the traffic coming in and out of the site. It is a very active driveway. So appreciated seeing the flagmen out there and really handling traffic coming and going as promptly as they could. So I have no further comments to add.
Great, thank you. All right.
Move on.
So, yes.
Appeals calendar, continued hearing items, item number 18, 2020-58A and 2020-59A, 1012 Jasmine Way, Staten Island. This is a waiver of the General City Law, Section 36.
Okay. The application was last heard on August 8th. Fire department issued a sign off with conditions, and these conditions should be included in the site plan. The plan should show the no parking designated area. We also have a DEP sign off. No, we don't have a DEP sign off. The applicant is working on the water main approval. So we still have some outstanding issues on this one. Do we need a secret on this? I believe we do.
Yes, we need seeker on this.
Okay. All right. So we do need a secret on it. And I think the main issue on this is there has been some back and forth on this. And I want to read out what I think is concerning the applicant and the staff at BSA. And the way I read the regulations, this is how I see it. And which is that the relevant SECRA with an S type 2 category here would be the following: 6 NYCRR section 617.5C11, which states that construction or expansion of a single family, a 2-family, or a 3-family residence on an approved lot, including provisions of necessary utility connections as provided in paragraph 13 of this subdivision, and the installation, maintenance, or upgrade of a drinking water well or a septic system, or both, and conveyance of land in connection therewith. So the applicant should note here that the SECRA with an S type 2 category contemplates a single building. So furthermore, the handbook, the state SECRA handbook, defines and exemplifies this category. Relevantly, it states that Any of the non-significant impacts that results from the construction of a house are subject to review under the existing local, state, and federal regulatory programs, and they can be controlled through these jurisdictions. So going even further, the segmentation, therefore, is not permitted under SECRA with an S and also SECRA with a C. In 617.2 of 6 NYCRR, segmentation is defined as the division of the environmental review of an action so that various activities or stages are addressed as though they were independent, unrelated activities needing individual determinations of significance, except in special circumstances. And those are considering only a part or segment or an overall action is contrary to the intent of SECRA with an S. And from the SECRA manual, which is a city SECRA manual, segmentation questions to consider based on the SECRA manual page 1 through 5 is, if the answer to one or more of these questions is yes, an agency should be concerned that segmentation is taking place. And the questions are the purpose. Is there a common purpose or goal of for each segment? Second is time. Third one is location. Is there a common geographic location involved? Fourth is impacts. Fifth is ownership, which is, are there different segments under the same or common ownership or control? 6 is common plan. 7 is utility. 8 is inducement. Now, I specifically read out 1, 3, and 5 because the answers to the questions of 1, 3, and 5 is yes. And thus, BSA as lead agency must be concerned that a segmentation is occurring. So there is a common purpose or goal, developing a street, Jasmine Way, to create frontage to 2 lots for residential use. Yes, they are with regards to the location, they are abutting lots sharing the same unmapped street frontage. They are on the same site plan. And with regards to ownership, it is our understanding that they are under the same ownership. At the very least, they are being brought by the same applicant, so there is some control over both properties. Therefore, absent any policy goal warranting segmentation, these applications cannot be viewed in segments with individual type 2 determinations. So a SECRA application should be provided, and I think everything will rule out in this one. So it's just going through the process and submitting the application. So I would strongly recommend the applicant follow the direction that has been given by our BSA staff and complete the process so that the board can make a decision once DEP has signed off and the application plan has been revised based on the discussions, the comments I made, and whatever you're going to hear from the commissioners. So with that, Commissioner Otley-Brown.
I have no additional comments.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Shetta.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Yeah, I just want to say that, yes, I read what you read regarding the DEP. We're still waiting for DEP. They said their civil engineer is still working on the water main approval for the 2 houses. On the need for the seeker, I based on the explanations you just provided, I want to thank you for that. This is number 1. Number 2, I do believe that seeker is required, and I urge the applicant to get whatever need to be provided to the board as soon as he can, so we can move this case forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Shibata.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I do agree that this case does need seeker. I agree with the statements that are made. The one thing I do want to add is I did not see a hardship statement, and I ask that the applicant provide that.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, there is actually.
Oh, where is it?
In the statement, it says, it explains the hardship as the subject site has no frontage on any map street, the requirement that the premises be accessible from a street duly placed on an official map, results in a practical difficulty and unnecessary hardship in developing in the development of the subject lot. It talks about hardship.
No, I'd ask that they expand that then.
Yeah.
You want
Um,
to,
So, Commissioner Shibeta, are you okay with it, or?
I'd ask that it be expanded a bit. I think that's just, that's every single
I
DCL 36 doesn't have frontage. They would need to add yes, Tony.
you want amplification and or case law adjusted to that, also attached to that?
I'm more concerned on the factual issues, but
Okay.
case law certainly won't.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Yoon?
Thank you. I believe the last time the adjacent site was in front of the board, there was a requirement that the western curb cut be used for all egress from the site. The curb cut and the sidewalk is in really bad shape, and so the applicant should address at least an intermediate plan for addressing the safety of the sidewalk condition where the curb cut is on the western side of the which is actually on the subject site for 10 and 12 Jasmine Way. It also from the adjacent site, just while we're out there, the northern drive aisle, which is along Victory Boulevard, was meant to be for emergency vehicle circulation only, and there weren't supposed to be parked cars there, but there are stripes and cars parked there, it looks like, actively. So if the applicant could address why the operational plan has changed since the past board resolution for the adjacent lot 81. And then there were also parked cars on the grass at the subject site where 10 and 12 Jasmine Way would have driveway easements. And so the applicant should address that also during the testimony. Thank you.
Okay.
I'd just like to clarify the board's discussion and instruction on seeker. As the board's saying, this application needs seeker. I just wanted to clarify what the board means is that this is not a type 2 action and this application must file an EAS. And the applicant has been apprised of that instruction by staff.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Thank you very much on that clarification. Okay. Next case, please.
New cases, item number 19, 2022-4 BZY, 529 President Street, Brooklyn. This is an extension of time to complete construction prior to the text amendments for the hotel text amendment, sorry.
Thank you. We have received proof of service of initial filing and proof of hearing. I did not see a community board vote on this one.
I did reach out to the community board. I thought I had it. I apologize. And I did reach out to them and they will get back to us on that.
Okay, thank you. So this is an application seeking a statutory vesting pursuant to zoning resolution section 11-332 for an extension of time to complete construction and to renew the building permits that was lawfully issued before April 23, 2018, that otherwise would require a special permit for the development of a proposed 5-story transient hotel in an M1 district post December 20, 2018. So this is an interior lot. The applicant, pursuant to zoning resolution section 42-111, the existing construction is vested since the building permit was lawfully issued prior to April 23, 2018. And the DOB confirmed that the building permit was issued prior to April 17, I'm sorry. I think, yeah, it was issued on April 28, 2017. So it was even before the 2018 deadline. Zoning resolution 11. So then once you go through the 42-111, it says that the application has to be filed within 30 days after the lapse of a permit provision pursuant to the provision of 11-332. Now, the zoning resolution 11-332 states that if a certificate of occupancy or a TCO is not issued within 2 years of the effective date of the amendment, in this case by December 2021, the permit shall lapse and that the board may renew the permit for 2 terms, 2 years, each, provided that the board finds that substantial construction has been completed and substantial expenditure has been made subsequent to the grant of the permit. Pursuant to 11-332A, findings related to substantial completion and expenditure needs to be made, therefore, and the applicant has submitted a permit history which shows the new building permit was issued on 2017 and since then has been renewed several times. With regards to substantial construction to complete, based on case laws regarding vesting, there is a wide range of work completion. There is no established substantial construction test. The applicant represents that 100% of the foundation is completed and construction activities, including excavation, piling, shoring, foundation work, all of that has also been completed. With regards to substantial expenditure, it has to be total amount of costs of construction and financial obligations that were incurred prior to the effective date of the zoning amendment, that is till December 2021. So in this case, substantial expenditure, including money spent and incurred, has been provided by the applicant. Construction expense, including hard costs as well as soft costs, site preparation were provided. The applicant represents that for that 1.8 million was paid or incurred to date, of which 1.5 million was expended before the adoption of this text amendment. My only comment is that I was trying to match the project cost estimate chart with the itemized cost list provided. I could not locate the breakdown for the general condition, concrete and foundation architect. So also the chart indicates the cost incurred prior to the adoption of the text amendment, which is great. But I was not able to piece all the elements together. So I would like the applicant to provide some clarification regarding that. There was a partial work order that was issued for construction safety back in September 2019, and that has been lifted. So it does show that the applicant is working and trying to work to resolve all its issues. I have no other comments on this at this point. Commissioner Otley-Brown.
I have no other comments about this site. I feel like they have made the findings.
Thank you. Commissioner Shetta.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Similar here, I do believe that they met the findings. I have no further comments. The only thing that I'm curious whether we received a letter from DOB regarding the status of the permit or not.
We did.
We did?
We did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The reason I'm asking because I wasn't able to locate it within the folder. But I'm fine with the application as in this case. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Shibata.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I too am satisfied with this application. I did take some exception to some of the costs, such as catering costs, that were included. But as a whole, I find this application satisfactory.
There was a catering cost.
Yes, it included on their cost analysis, they included catering costs.
Okay.
So
That's
for the
interesting.
future, I don't think that those costs should be included in their analysis.
I agree. Commissioner Yoon. Thank you, Commissioner Shibata.
Thank you. I have no further comments, and I agree that the findings have been met. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next case, please.
Item number 20, 2022 7BZY. 3875 11th Street, Queens. This is an
All right.
extension of time to complete construction.
We have received proof of service of initial filing and proof of hearing. Community board voted to approve this project. This is an application that is seeking statutory vesting pursuant to zoning resolution section 11-332 for an extension of time to complete construction and to renew the building permits that were lawfully issued before April 30th, 2018, that otherwise would have required a special permit for the development on the subject site of a proposed 11-story transient hotel in an M1 district post December 2018. So I'm going to repeat pretty much the same thing what I repeated for the prior case for the record. Pursuant to zoning resolution section 42-111, the existing construction is vested since the building permit was lawfully issued prior to April 23, 2018, in this case, which is March 14, 2018. And DOB has confirmed that the building permit was lawfully issued. So again, per ZR 42-111, we have to, the next step is to look towards zoning resolution section 11-331 and 332, states that if a certificate of occupancy or a TCO is not issued within 2 years of the effective date of the amendment, in this case by December 2021, the permit shall lapse and that the board may renew the permit for 2 terms, 2 years, each providing that the board finds that substantial construction has been completed and substantial expenditure has been made subsequent to the granting of the permit. So in this case, the applicant has submitted a permit history, and it has been and shows that since March of 2018, when the initial building permit was issued, it has been renewed since then. With regards to substantial construction to complete, as stated earlier, based on case laws regarding vesting, there is a wide range of work completion. There is no established substantial construction test. The applicants state that the full demolition is complete and also the full excavation and foundation and more than half of the concrete superstructure has been constructed. And the applicant has also been working actively in resolving some of the violations. With regards to substantial expenditure, the total cost and construction of the final financial obligations incurred prior to the effective date of the zoning amendment has to be prior to December 2021. The applicant has provided several sets of documents. Now, based on the construction expense chart in our share file, it's called the construction cost tracking report. It includes the hard cost as well as soft cost and Department of Finance real estate taxes. According to the chart, the total cost incurred as of 4/8/2020 is $8 million, over $8 million. So first of all, Department of Finance, real estate tax, all of those need to be removed from the analysis. Second of all, then the applicant also submitted an Exhibit C, which is the expenditure detail that includes expenditure till 2022, and it also includes the real estate cost, but it did not have a total. So for the purpose of the statutory vesting incurred, it has to be till the costing shall not include real estate, and it is only up till December 2021 that should be included. Now, per Exhibit A, the cost breakdown to date is 22.9 million that has been paid, and the total development budget is 52 million. So I saw 3 different costs charts with 3 different numbers. So, and it's also not corresponding with the statement of facts. So it was a little difficult for me to follow the various cost prices. So what I did was I just took the conservative cutoff date, which is 4/8/2020, and I subtracted the real estate cost, and it is evident that there's substantial expenditure has been made. However, the applicant should, for the record, clarify and have the statement of fact corrected in terms of the actual cost that has been incurred till December 2021, and with the elimination of real estate cost and such. So I do believe the applicant has met the findings, but the record needs to be corrected. Thank you. Commissioner Otley-Brown.
So I agree with you. This seems to be a case of being given too much information by the applicant. And I think they need to streamline in the future what they present to us. I think the entire chart of expenditures should be consolidated into one single chart, and only that one chart should be submitted. And it should be in an Excel format so that it is detailing expenses as well as the checks that are paid against those expenses with dates, totaling them out by the threshold date. And that would simplify everything. And then that total should then be inserted into the statement of facts and findings. So it should be that simple. We don't need to see every trade represented by its own expenditure chart, because that gets to be a little bit too complicated. And ultimately, all we're looking for is that substantial expenditures out of the total construction budget have been paid. And so we can simplify this and we can process this application a lot faster if we just focus in on that finding and try and just give us that piece of information that we need. It's clear by the photographs, looking at the fact that there are many floors of superstructure that have been constructed, that substantial work has been done, and clearly they have met the findings in order to be able to have that vested right to complete construction for the prior zoning. And so therefore, I think that, you know, over time in the past few years, we're getting increasingly more complicated expense tables, and it just isn't necessary.
Thank you, Commissioner Otley-Brown. You stated exactly what my sentiments were. I do think we are overcomplicating the vesting applications, and I am going to direct my team, our team, to come up with a standard that provides a clear direction for vesting applications, because this one, as you said, it's simple. And we just need to provide a very good sample of what needs to be submitted, and what you stated is very clear. And those should be carried forward until we can put together an update on our website. So I thank you, Commissioner Otley-Brown.
And I do agree with you, though, that you should differentiate with the costs that are approved for going towards vesting arguments and taking away those costs that really have nothing to do with vesting. I fully agree with you on that. And also any checks that are presented after the threshold date should have an explanation as to whether or not those costs were committed prior to the threshold date. And if not, then they need to be taken out.
I mean, a revocable commitment.
Right, yeah. So for instance, Exhibit C expenditure details chart shows $18,663 was paid after December 20th, 2021. So the question is, were those charges, were the payments committed prior to the threshold date of 12/20/2021? And if it was, then that should just be stated. If not, it should be deducted from the total.
And the costs that should not be included are the real estate costs. What about insurance?
Yeah, but those are typical costs.
I thought that real estate costs could be included. I thought any costs going towards
That's what I
maintaining or improving the property should be included. So whereas
I mean, real estate taxes should be included?
Well, that's paid towards the existence of the property in pursuing the, I don't know, council probably should be consulted on that, but I don't recall us removing real estate taxes.
Acquisition costs we do remove.
Right. And that's because the acquisition costs, I guess, could be used towards any type of project. But I don't know. I guess council should opine on that for us. That would be a good idea.
Okay.
We can discuss it offline.
Okay, all right.
Discuss it.
Thank you. Commissioner Shetta.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I agree and I second all the comments that made by you and Commissioner Brown. I do agree that the application need to be more simple than that. A lot of information were submitted. Regarding the checks that were cut or issued after the cutoff day, I would say that they need to give us a proof that the work was done and approved by them prior to the cutoff date. Even if there is no commitment to pay, let's say they've done the concrete for the 10th floor a week or a month before the cutoff date, and then they issued the check for that 2 months after the cutoff date. I'm not sure if they don't have a commitment to that payment, would it be fair to eliminate that amount of money from the cost that is submitted to the board? I wouldn't be in favor of that. I would say if they give us a proof, something like an inspection report that says that the work was done on such date and the work was approved by the inspecting whoever engineer or architect, I would take that and consider this cost as a valid cost to be included in the visiting cost. Other than that, I have no further comments. Thank you. I'm sorry, regarding the real estate thing, I want to hear from General Counsel, but my feeling is that it shouldn't be included because it doesn't relate to the application. They're gonna pay property taxes no matter what, real estate taxes no matter what they are building or not. If
Right, except for one thing, being that this happens to be my bailiwick. Property taxes are based on the use. And so if a property is under construction, then the Department of Finance, based on the proposed construction, will assess the property, and that will result in a tax value that may be different depending on the use and the bulk of the property.
so I believe
So that's the only thing.
We should
That's
hear
the
from
only problem. Yeah.
I believe we should be waiting to hear from the council, and I believe you're the expert on this. I didn't know that. If this is the case, I would be at least considering the difference. Let's say the real estate taxes before they settle on a type of construction, which is a hotel in this case, was X, and then it was increased to Y. I would at least go with the difference to be included, to be fair.
I'm not quite following why that would be needed in this case.
I think
Okay, Commissioner Shetta.
I think what Commissioner Shetta is stating is the difference between the real estate tax that is as the use of a hotel and the real estate tax as the use of what would be permitted at the location at the time. The difference between those two.
That's parsing it too finely, and it's not that easy to determine, because if you start with vacant land and finance is valuing the property as if it's vacant land, and then you submit new building permits for a hotel, they're going to value it as if it's a hotel in progress. You're not going to be able to know what the value would be if it was an office building in order to figure out what the differential is, because finance isn't going to give it to you, because Department of Finance only values what is, not what could be.
Oh, Commissioner Otley Brown, I certainly agree with you. I understand Commissioner Shetta's logic. And I certainly think that this is something that we should discuss with council and
Yes.
perhaps have a better understanding of how to move forward with it.
I want to say that we just need to worry about this if it is crucial to look at the real estate taxes at all. And in like the majority of the cases, you don't need even to look at that portion of the cost. Especially you don't have an exact test to follow on the substantial expenditures that being expended. So I'm not sure if this is even needed.
I certainly agree when you're talking about nearly $9 million. The amount of real estate taxes seems to be a nominal amount. But again, it's best not parsed out on the record.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So we do have a lot to discuss and internally and provide a clearer direction to the applicants. That is one thing for sure. We will get back to the board and to the applicant pool regarding that. Commissioner Yoon. Sorry. No, Commissioner Shibata, I'm sorry.
It's my fault. I spoke out of turn. I agree with the statements made. The only thing I would ask for is I didn't find it in just a statement representing that the photos that are submitted reflect construction at the time of the expiration of the permit. Is the only statement I would. That's all I ask.
Okay. So you wanted the timeline of the photos,
Yes,
but you do believe that the finding has been made?
I do.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Yoon?
Thank you. I agree that the finding has been made, but it's been confusing and that the applicant, as Vice Chair mentioned, the statement of facts and the various analyses for expenditures do not seem to be consistent. So if a clarification could be made during the testimony, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Anything else?
No.
This concludes the review session. Commissioner Ali Brown, could you move your camera up? Well, you're sort of cut off a little bit. That's better. Good. Thank you. Okay. So this concludes the review session.
So let's take a 10-minute break and then we'll start with the public hearing.
Okay.
Yep.
Steve, break. Thank you.
All right, commissioners, let's all get back.
Ready?
Yep.
Are we live? I can't see. We're live. Okay, we're back on the record, ladies and gentlemen. Steve, can you put the screen up, please? Okay, good afternoon. This is the Board of Standards and Appeals public hearing for October 17, 2022. We will commence with the special order calendar, new cases, item number 15, 245, 32BZ, 12305, 101st Avenue, Queens. You can go back to the gallery, I guess, Steve.
Yes, we have Miss Solidaire on this one.
Hi, there should also be a Ben Leonard, Ben on the phone. He's the architect.
Attending. Ben Leonardi?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an attendee. Let him in, Steve.
Promoted him as a panelist, but he has not accepted.
Do we, oh, we need him, right?
You don't need him, but he's extremely helpful. I guess
You're
he
one
can
woman I thought you were one woman show there.
sometimes, but sometimes, you know, people have a really good understanding of the site, so it's just helpful to have them.
Okay.
If he can't figure out how to get in, he can also call in, and then we can add him if I need him.
Mr. Leonardi, if you can't join as panelist, you can call in 1-646-558-8656. The webinar ID number is 874-4482-2148. You press the pound sign. Put the screen up, Chief. Enter the webinar ID number 874-4482-2148. Press the pound sign. At the next prompt, you will press only the pound sign. Press star 9 to raise your hand. Star 6 to unmute if you're calling on the phone.
So maybe if you leave that up, I can do it, and then if we need him, we can add him back in. Is that a good idea?
Yep, let's do
Yes.
that.
So I can swear you both in.
I'm saying you could swear me in. I'll respond to all the comments, and then if you need him, we'll swear him in.
Okay, raise your
Just
right
that way
hand.
we don't waste time. Thank
Yeah,
you.
okay, fine, thank you. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and to respond honestly to board member questions?
I do. Thank you very much. Elise Fullader from Eric Palatnik PC. We heard your comments this morning, and me, Ben, the architect, and the owner went on a call together to discuss the comments. So I'm going to go through them. I'm going to start with the easier ones first. We heard your comment about safety and the lighting note, and we will add it on the plan. We appreciate it. We were trying to have them shut off permanently because we thought that's what the board wanted, but we think that you have the best solution. Next, in terms of signage, yes, that is for both street frontages because it is a corner lot. Appreciate that comment. We will provide site photos of the rear yard condition.
Miss
Oh,
Solidaire,
sorry.
can, regards to the signage. So
Yeah.
the 169 feet is totaling the signage on both street frontages.
Yeah, yes, it is.
So, you know, the board requires signage analysis for
frontage.
each frontage.
Yeah, I thought we took care of that in the notice of comments, but I have to look again and we'll try to clarify that.
I don't know
Yeah.
if it's on the plans or not, if I could just add in, but I did find it. I just don't remember where I found it, but I found on 123rd Street, 81.7 square feet total, of which 29.2 square feet is illuminated. And then on 101st Avenue, 88 square feet is both total and non-illuminated. But I don't remember whether I just saw it on the plans or whether I saw it on an analysis sheet as well.
I'm gonna look. Maybe it was just the plans. Yeah, I remember doing something like this too, but I will resubmit and look into that and clarify that further.
Yeah, I do see it on the plan, which says illuminated signage at the corner of 123rd, and then signage facing on 101. And then I guess when it says signage, basically it means non-illuminated for 123rd. So I do see the breakdown on that. Okay.
So I think what you'd probably need is a sign analysis form. If we don't have one, we will provide it.
All right. Thank you.
No problem.
Can I go back to the safety lighting? I
No
don't think
problem.
we saw the lumen plan, so you would need to provide the lumen plan indicating where all the existing light sources are, and then the
That's
note
if we
added.
don't shut them off at night, right? Because if they're nothing.
If you
at
don't shut them off, right? If you don't
Okay.
shut them off.
night. Okay,
Okay.
no problem. Next, you asked about site photos of the rear yard condition to see the condition. Not a problem. We spoke with the owner about the barbed wire and he is happy to have it removed. So that would probably solve that problem. We'll take photos of that.
Also, and remove the framework as well, please.
And the framework, okay. Okay. So the truck issue is a little complicated and we'll explain it. There is a box or that small truck you saw, and one of the operators of that site, as part of his business, goes out to other places, keeps his tools in there, and then he has different shifts during the day, and he's often gone during the day because he uses those tools to go and fix other cars in other locations off the site. So he doesn't rent it, he's a person that's part of the business, but they have a service where they go off the site and repair other cars.
So this truck stays there, or this truck moves to other location to repair other vehicles?
It moves to other locations and it does that multiple times a day, often throughout the day. It is there sometimes during the day, but often throughout the day, that truck isn't there.
Okay, now that changes a little bit of the operational plan, and I don't know if the prior board had reviewed it, because there is vehicular traffic that's adding to the back and forth of the business. And you need to describe that and how that, I'm not sure if there's an alternate. So you need an entire truck full of stuff to move things back and forth?
Yeah, it's a small truck, but it's so all the materials can be kept in that truck to go to the locations as people request repairs offsite.
And you couldn't. Go ahead.
Sorry, you go ahead.
No, I mean, and you cannot locate that. Now you're proposing 10 car parking spaces. Is that, so where would the truck be then?
The truck parks in the location you saw, but if that doesn't work for you, I can speak with the owner about parking it in a different.
No. I'm talking about the proposed. The proposed shows 10 cars that are going to be there that are going to be used only for repairing of, these are for vehicles that are needing repair. So the proposal would not have any trucks, but you're saying the truck is part of an integral part of this operation. So I'm a little confused in terms of what is being proposed and what is existing and what may remain as the future operation of the site.
So I think that where there's the 1, 2, 3, 4 cars on the top, that's where it parks, but maybe one of those cars has to be shown as a truck instead.
Okay, that's a problem, because it's the reason for that parking that was allowed along the adjacent residential building was it was going to be more of a kind of a dead storage, not an active driveway with vehicles coming and going. That would be more disruptive to the residential use. So if I do not
it's
think
not
that
there normally during the day. It's just at night it comes and it I guess it's not a back and forth so much.
Okay, so
but
you need to describe a little bit. Yeah, you need to provide you need to provide more clarification.
So I think
as
that
to the nature of the
yeah. And we need to do an operational plan anyway because of the sidewalk issue, which we can discuss in a moment. But I think that hopefully an operational plan will help clarify that use.
And I thought you said
Commissioner Otley
that,
Brown, sorry, Commissioner Shetta. Commissioner Otley Brown had a question, so I want her to go first and then Commissioner Shetta.
Yes, that's what I was going to suggest, Ms. Volader, that you incorporate the truck operations into your overall operational plan so the board could review it and make a determination as to its appropriateness at this site.
Makes sense.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Shetta.
yeah, thank you. I have the same comment. Thank you.
Okay. All right. All right, please go ahead. Ms.
Executive
Volader.
Director, I'm sorry, can interrupt. Executive Director has his hand up.
Oh, okay, I did not see. Yes, Ms. Costanza, Mr. Costanza.
Yes, Madam Vice Chair, I would just ask to clarify in addressing the requirements under 11.4.1. I'm sorry, I'm coming in late on this. Was this always part of the zoning lot, or is this another portion of a lot that's kind of being utilized by the subject site?
It was on the previously approved plans, but we can clarify that if necessary. But that area was on the previously approved plan.
Yes, thank you. As long as your narrative just addresses the requirement. Thank you.
Okay, move on.
Yep.
Okay, great. Barbed wire trucks, operational plan. I'm just making sure I'm going through. Okay, and then the last is we spoke with the owner of the site, who isn't the operator, he's the owner. I actually spoke with him on Friday as well. He asked me to write a letter to his tenant because he realizes that that is a problem, and he's working with his tenant to say you cannot park on the sidewalk, you cannot have any unregistered vehicles on the site, it is not appropriate. And we're drafting a letter to that tenant, and he is going to work with that tenant to take care of this because he recognizes that that is a problem here.
So I would also suggest then that section, that 9'7" area along the frontage of 101st Street be just yellow striped and say no parking.
Okay, understood. So I will let him know that, yellow stripe, okay. And that will be part of our operational plan, which we'll revise and send to you.
Yeah. And I would say even add a sign along that thing, along that frontage that says no parking on the sidewalks. This is to, again, someone says, oh, I cannot park on the yellow stripe, but maybe I can park in front of it.
Mhm.
But the answer is nowhere. So
Yeah,
you should
understood.
clarify. Okay, thank you.
Okay, and I think that's all the questions.
Any other questions or comments from the commissioners? Okay, let's go to the public.
Okay, so the case we are currently discussing, thank you, is 24532BZ, 12305, 100 First Avenue, Queens. This is an extension of term of a previously approved operation of an automotive repair facility that is seeking an amendment to increase parking and changes of hours of operation. Should you wish to discuss, please dial in 646-558-8656 or our toll-free number 1-888-475-4499. You will enter the webinar ID number 874-4482-2148 and press the pound sign. At the next prompt, you will press the pound sign. Once you're in, press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute if you're on the phone, and if you're in the Zoom room already, please raise that little Zoom hand that is on the bottom of your screen. Once you're in, you'll be given 3 minutes to speak. Oops, timer.
Okay, the other thing that there isn't any curb cut on 101st Street, so technically, or is there one? It says existing curb cut, but in the photos, it didn't seem like there is a curb cut on 101st Street.
I don't believe there is,
Okay,
but
so,
I would like existing curb cut. I see an existing curb cut on 101st. There is one
yeah.
existing curb cut on 101st.
Is that the one in front of the building?
Yeah, I think we can clarify that on the plans.
Yeah, please clarify that and indicate the width of the curb cuts.
Vice Chair, Mr. Leonardo has joined. Do we want some testimony from him or not necessary?
It's up to Ms. Fullader and Mr. Leonardi. If you want to add, then you have to be sworn in.
Do you want to say anything then?
Sworn in,
No,
sir.
sworn in. You have to
Sworn in.
swear, like,
Raise your hand, right hand.
Can you see me?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Thank you.
Okay,
Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and to respond honestly to board member questions?
I do. And I
Okay.
apologize for getting on late, but my my computer screwed up.
so Ben, do you have anything to add about the operations or the curb cuts?
Well, once again, I didn't hear about the curb cut, the issue about the curb cut. But as far as the operations, as you know, we spoke to the owner, and the owner is adamant that the cars will be off the sidewalk. He's going to write them a letter immediately. He's willing to take the barbed wire, if any. He didn't even realize there was barbed wire at the top at some areas. He's willing to take that off. He's willing to redirect the lighting. The only issue, and once again, you may have already raised this, is the hours of operation. He would
No,
like,
we
if
have to-
possible. What's that?
No, this is a good issue to, you can say it if you want, but what I didn't bring up, and thank you for bringing that up, is they do have normal operations from Monday to Friday, and sometimes he needs to come in on Saturday. So we could amend the hours again to allow him to come in on Saturday as well.
Saturday.
It's
He
not
doesn't want to
always.
be in violation. So
Yeah.
he does admit that they would like to have some operations on Saturdays, all within the same hours. Did you discuss, Elise, about the truck issue?
Yeah, we have to clarify that in the operational plan about how that works, how, if it causes a traffic issue, how often they're in and out, et cetera.
And I think the other part of the equation is, what is the height of the fence, and will the truck be kind of visible from the residential use around it? I don't know how big of a truck this is from the, is it like one of those minivan type of thing, or is it one of the box trucks? I think from the photos, it looked like it was a box truck.
Well, if I may, if you'll notice on the photographs that were shown earlier in the program, there was a screening around the trucks. Matter of fact, it was very hard to even see what kind of truck it was. But what the owner claims is that the people who run the place have two trucks, small trucks, and he's willing to give a photo of that, that go out when there's roadside accidents so that they can bring the cars in. So he needs, something to do that, to run his auto body shop, and he would appreciate. And that's why he enclosed them in such a way. And I believe the fence, don't quote me on it, it's either 8 or 10 foot high. But the bottom line is very difficult to even see the trucks, even if you look at the photo that was shown earlier in the program. There are slats in the fence to hide the trucks, but he would like to have them to use roadside service for people who break down.
Is that tow trucks?
I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't know. I didn't even realize there were trucks there when I went out there. But he says,
Adding
okay,
another use.
there are trucks there that I guess when people break down, I don't know. But what I asked him to do is if he can get me photos of the trucks so that we could submit a photo. But they're not big trucks. He claims they're not big trucks, but I honestly can't say because I have not seen them.
And we'll speak to him after this and we'll make sure to
That's correct.
clarify.
Yes,
an
I
operation.
think we can discuss that with him. And like I said, what I asked him for is for photos of the truck so that we can show it to the board.
Okay, I'm going to go back to, I'm trying to look at the previously approved plan. So, and I'm looking at the photos that's been submitted. So when I look at photo number 12, I do see sorry, not Barbara. I do see a fence, an opaque fence, but that opaque fence is aligned with the building of the structure where the auto repair is happening. After that, I do not see any fence that is abutting the residential home, which is built to the lot line.
Yeah.
So I'm a little confused because, and it seems there's a staircase that comes down from the second floor onto this driveway. And there are, and photo number 12 does show that there is a can, there are some materials that are stored in the back. So it's serving as many purposes. And it's not very, I mean, the only fence that is there is just along the front lot line. But the rest of the property is built to the lot line, residential building, and there isn't any fence that is blocking the view of the resident from the parking area.
If I may, if you look at my plans that I submitted, I do call for an 8-foot high fence adjacent to the residential property with a minimum of 50% opaque. And that is, you'll notice on plan AP 101.
Okay. So you're proposing to provide that?
Well, either he has it there, or yes, the answer is he must have a
Not there.
fence.
It's
No,
like half
it's
there. It
not
goes,
there.
she's saying
It's
it
not.
goes up to the bill.
One
like the-
person at a time.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so just look through the submissions, and because the photos that's been submitted doesn't show a fence that goes along the entire length of the property along the residential lot line. Photo number 12. And there are, as I said, material that is stored in the back. So those all need to be cleared out.
Vice Chair, Commissioner Shedd has her hand up.
Okay, Commissioner Chetta?
Thank you, Chair.
I will address that with the owner.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Commissioner Chetta, go ahead.
Thank you again. Yeah, when I was there was like 2 trucks parking inside. Like you indicated, the residential building is built to the lot line. I'm not sure if visibility here is the issue from the residential building, except for the most outer, probably 15 feet or maybe even 12 feet of the residential property, which actually is on the front yard. There is no like physical building there. The issue here is 2 trucks are a lot for the adjacent residential. I'm not sure if this building has a cellar, and we're talking about 2 trucks. These are not small trucks. These are like intermediate side trucks. I believe they are 16 footers. If I've seen them right, that fence has slates to the street, so I wasn't able to like take more clear pictures or look into. I didn't want to do that while I was there, but I do have concern if we're parking 2 trucks with the size I observed, and if these trucks are being used for off-site repairs, there's going to be equipment inside, there's going to be machinery inside. So the weight of these trucks could be considerable. And if there is a cellar over there, I'm not sure if the basement, all of that adjacent cellar is designed to take these loads. So this is one of the concerns. I would like the architect to educate us on how they're gonna address it. On the other hand, I'm not sure whether an auto repair shop need to have 2 trucks of the size I observed to go somewhere off-site on streets to fix cars. My understanding, and I do have cars, and sometimes I got an issue while driving on the road. If it's a minor thing, I call a mechanic nearby. He stops by with like probably a couple of tools, and he fixes it on the street. But if there is significant fix, the car need to be towed to where the shop is, and it's fixed at the shop. So I'm not buying the idea of parking 2 trucks of the size I observed on site for that reason. We need, like Commissioner Brown indicated, we need clarifications in the operational plan on why these trucks are there. Thank you.
Yeah, I think this goes to the base. So, Ms. Polladair, you need to provide a very clear outline of the operational plan and how the box truck or trucks in this case will not create a neighborhood character nuisance issue on the subject site, and so, and why this cannot be stored somewhere else and such. The other question is, you know, also the condition of the side lot. Do provide photos of the interior side lot condition, especially along the parking area where the parking is. The other question I have this, if you're looking for extra parking spaces, the parking space number 10, maybe you can do a tandem park, provide one that's in front because the building is in an angle. Maybe you can provide one car that can be parked in an angle, and you can get your, extra parking space and take away the parking area along the frontage of the building on that 9'7" strip.
Okay.
I'm trying to work with you.
Yeah, understood. Thank you.
If I can get you one parking space that's legal, that would be one way of doing it. But I do need to understand what the operational plan is and how that is going to be considered with this project.
Understood.
Okay, and I think that's a concern you're hearing from all the commissioners.
Yeah, and Vice Chair, just for the record, I just looked at the previously approved plan, and it shows 4 cars parking on that side portion of the site next to the staircase that goes to the second floor. 4 cars, no trucks, and same thing for the proposed plans. 4 cars, no trucks.
Right. No, yes, and the applicant has been very clear about wanting to provide additional parking spaces on the subject side. That is one of the amendment the applicant is requesting. But if that is because you have to provide the trucks on the side and then provide the additional parking spaces, fine. But you need to explain that to us and justify how having those trucks on that side is not going to be an issue with neighborhood character.
Understood.
And not going to be an issue with the surrounding build context.
Yeah, and the safety of the adjacent seller as well.
And what additional measures are you taking to ensure that the residential building, abutting residential building, is secure and safe, and privacy is maintained?
And were you going to say something?
Yeah, well, I was just, Commissioner, when you raised the issue about parking space number 10, what I did with parking space number 10 is I wanted to make sure we had at least one handicap parking space. That's why you see the shading along the car to give them the ability to park for handicap. So I don't know about it up further may impede on the ability for handicap. I wanted that one spot to be for a handicap, wider, so it's for a handicapped person. But if you insist, I will push the bar further up if that you feel is appropriate.
Okay, so now I understand. So from that, then you have a handicap access way from there to the office entryway.
That's correct.
Okay, so indicate that also in the plan that there is a walkway, and there's a walkway along the frontage of the vehicles 7, 8, 9, 10 to get into the building, and And also probably between 7 and 8, there seems to be a big space between 7 and 8. Is that also for customers to walk in? Is that where the customers walk in?
But it's not necessarily, it's just a wide area. It's just whatever was left. We tried to divide the parking spaces up where they, in other words, the 4, 5, and 6 is in front of the overhead door. And, 7, 8, and 9, we just more or less subdivided it. There was no, the only one I was concerned about was 10.
Okay, this is what I will suggest. I think you do have a lot of space in between your cars. So if you push them all up, one next to the other, you can fit in one more car and still maintain your ADA parking space, number 10, and provide your customer entrance from that gate along the 101 Street. That little gate that you have, I see there's a little gate that swings in. Maybe
Correct.
that's where anybody wants to walk in or something. They can walk along that, and you provide a walkway along that entire strip. That kind of ensures that you have a pedestrian safe zone along that building. If you don't want to use that for any parking space, well, I'm not talking about the handicap, but any other parking space. So then I understand what you're saying. So then you try to accommodate it.
Commissioner, with all due respect, the actual entrances for people who walk in are, if you look at plan AP 102, are not where that gate is. It's adjacent to parking spaces, hold on, 9 and 7. So if you look at the plan, you'll see the actual layout of the office space where you can walk in.
Okay.
So it's not meant for people to walk in where that gate is. That's only an egress gate if, somebody's stuck in the space. But there's the cellar door there, and that is not meant for the handicap. The entrance is on the side street.
Okay. So all I'm saying is that whatever you're planning to do in terms of operation, separating out the pedestrian from the vehicular, just indicate that in the plan very clearly.
I will.
Yeah, and I also think she's just trying to help us optimize our spaces because we need them to operate in automotive.
Yeah, and Commissioner, when you said put them closer together, you weren't saying to add another space because 10 is fine.
Well, no, she's trying to help us put more spaces there if we can optimize more spaces because the site needs it to operate a business.
Right.
So
I think you can only get one more. I think in this space, at most you can get is one extra space. So I'm just trying to give you that one extra space that you're going to lose from that parking area in front of 101st Street.
Okay.
So I'm just trying. If you're going to put a box truck in there, you're going to lose one more space. So I'm just being very upfront and clear about what your operational plan is and trying to make sure what you're going to do is going to be as per the plans. So think through this and see how you can accommodate, if you can, one additional parking space on that spot with the walkways indicated very clearly for the pedestrian from the street and from the ADA parking space.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right, so I think there's a little bit of work that your team needs to do, Ms. Fullader. How much time do you think you will need?
Ben, what do you think? Because we have to update the plans, 2 or 3 weeks?
I would say 30 days if we may.
Okay, no problem. I'm sure she can accommodate that. 30 days. Okay, so a month approximately.
Okay. All right. We will do our best, but please provide a very thorough operational plan and the proposed actions with regards to how you will ensure the change in the operation will not impact prior board findings or any of the issues coming
Commissioner,
forward.
if I may ask, does the board stating that they will not allow any trucks, or can we possibly show 2 trucks if they seem reasonable?
If you're good, well, that's what we are asking you to submit, is to provide an operational plan with the trucks and indicate how that would not be an impact. Because the prior board did not consider that. And if you're going to provide that, you need to walk us through the arguments as to how this would not be a nuisance or will not be an impact to the residential character and the community abutting the use. If you are able to justify it with all the, maybe you provide alternative site improvements that can even make the site even better so that having the truck there will not be that much of an issue. Factoring all of that in, the board will then review it and then we'll let you know. But we are open to it. I think the fact that we are asking the question, we are open to it, but you have to work with us to make it look like this is not going to be an impact.
I understand. Thank you.
Okay? I think
Thank
Ms.
you.
Polladair understands.
Yeah, totally. But it's good to explain to Ben on the record so he understands as well.
And I
Yeah.
apologize for getting on late.
No problem.
You're here, and that's helpful. Thank you.
No problem.
Pleasure talking to you.
Okay.
Move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
Item number 16, 34660 BZ, 211 Tapscott Street, Brooklyn.
I think this
Glenn
is Mr.
Catrona.
Catrona.
Mr. Leonardi, can you just mute yourself, please? Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I don't see Glenn. Who is Glenn? Shoot.
Who's for this case?
Glenn Catrona, do you see him?
This Glenn, yeah, Glenn Catrona.
Let me. There he is. I'm just gonna call him. Okay. Glenn, can you unmute and join as panelist, please? Thank you. Good to see you. Can you raise your right hand? Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and to respond honestly to board member questions?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to ask, are you by yourself?
I'm by myself.
Okay,
Well,
proceed.
not really. There's some people in the environment, but as serious as I am.
Hi, Annie. But, okay, you heard the board's questions. You want to respond?
Absolutely. Vice Chair, Commissioners, and BSA staff, I'm Glenn Catrona, AIA, Catrona Architecture, PLC. I'm representing Atlantis Management on this particular case. Yes, indeed, I was at the executive session, listening in and heard everything very, very clearly. And like to sort of respond to each one of the points that we documented here. Okay, so Vice Chair will gladly obtain a historical Sanborn map to support the fact of the configuration of the property. So we will put that in with our follow-up submission. Okay, you also made a comment about a compliance chart. We submitted a compliance chart on April 28, 2021. But in my statement of facts and findings and some of the additional information there, when we were seeking to obtain the historical files on this particular location, we made 2 attempts working with Emmanuel, and so the records were determined to be lost because we were not able to achieve, anything substantial. There was no folder available. So the information that we put together was information that we were able to get from the owner and what we were able to see. So we put together, there's holes in it. I wish that we were able to find the folder, but at this particular point, we provided the information that we were able to achieve.
Okay. Yeah, you did mention it. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I see, we'll provide all the hours of operation and bolster up an operational plan, not an issue. There was a point, several of the commissioners made points on the lighting. The good thing about this particular project is that, indifferent from one of our extension of terms where we're trying to achieve, an optimal condition, for the project, this is all going to be new. So everything from the infrastructure of the gasoline operation to the canopy, brand new canopy, to total absolute renovation of the existing building. And the good thing is that, you know, we're very keen on this requirement, applying it to other projects that we worked on together. Here, we have the opportunity of working with the most up-to-date lighting. You know, our result will be very desirable, but we'll provide the canopy plan and also any additional lighting for the balance of the site. And we'll provide very detailed information upon on coming next submission here. The signage, the thing about this here particular client and renovation, they're pretty sparse with the signage, so we'll be absolutely fine, but we will add a note to our documents, our drawings, stating that we will comply with C2. There was just a comment about the refuse. We're going to use cedar fencing on it. We feel it's you know, a nicer appeal there. So it was just a comment, but yes, we're providing an enclosure. Yeah, we are removing one of the two curb cuts, that front Dumont. If you look at our drawing, BSA 4.0, we're removing one curb cut. When we were studying the site, we knew that we'd get better circulation on the site. And so there'll be one curb cut there. We will be happy. I'll review the applicable sections of the zoning resolution regarding street tree plantings, and we will add a street tree or so, whatever it takes to comply for that condition. Commissioner Yoon had asked for I believe it was for a signage just regarding, you know, vehicles idling, anybody that would utilize the parking spaces that would go into the convenience store. I'm more than sure they'd probably shut their vehicles down at this particular point just for, you know, just to be safe. But we would be happy to add a sign. Any graffiti that we see on the site right now, that'll all be removed, as everything from corner to corner of this site, subgrade regarding any of the infrastructure for the gasoline operation is going to be totally new, where we look at you know, having a clean asphalt or ceiling or whatever. This is going to be new from corner to corner of the site. There was a comment just acknowledging, I believe, the planting that we're putting along Dumont to shield the vehicles. In front of those vehicles is an existing 8-foot high concrete block wall, which we're going to beautify. Probably have some lighting on there as well, because it'll be low. Along that particular side there on the eastern side of the property is a residential building. There is a yard there, so it is a separation from this particular property. And then adjacent to the south is a supermarket, and where this heavily commercial corridor. In addition, there is a raised elevated subway that operates directly in front of this facility. Any defenses are going to be removed to access those parking spaces. Any barbed wire that is there will be removed along with that, and you know, there would be no replacing of that. We're looking for a beautified environment here, which I think is a big advantage for this site. I'm not sure, but I think that those were the significant points that I had recorded. You know, we're going to do a resubmission, and we're very comfortable with everything that was stated, and we'll provide accordingly.
I had a question. Thank you for the clarification with regards to the compliance. I do have a question, and that's regarding the planting. Since this is going to be all done from scratch, I am assuming this would be in-ground planting that you're proposing. Okay, so just put that note on the plan that this is going to be in-ground planting, and the depth and the width of it would be 4 foot by 4, whatever the depth needs to be for that. And the lighting that you're proposing, since you have a wall, I'm assuming you can just mount the lighting on the wall.
Yeah, That's what I was referring to as well, because we're going to
Okay.
light that portion. Of
Right.
the site. But as I said,
Right, and that was,
please, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
sorry, and that would substantially reduce the light spillage onto the residential property.
Absolutely. And given the fact that we're doing this here at this current time, we're going to utilize, all of the technology that we have to maintain lighting, on the specific site, shield anything that would be spillage onto any other adjacent properties. I think we're going to be absolutely fine with that, but we will provide, since the canopy is going to be new, we will provide those details along with the lighting that is associated with the canopy, and then any other lighting that is in addition on the balance of the site will be very clearly delineated for everyone.
Okay. All right. Any questions or comments from the commissioners? Okay, let's go to the public.
Okay, the case we are currently discussing is 34660BZ, 211 Tapscott Street, Brooklyn. This is an amendment for a previously approved variance, which allowed an automobile service station with accessory uses. The amendment is to change some of the automotive repair bays to accessory C-store and add incidental alterations, accessory convenience store. Should you wish to discuss, dial 646-558-8656 or 888-475-4499. You will enter the webinar ID number 874-4482-2148 and the pound sign. You will press the pound sign at the next prompt. You press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute if you are on the phone. And if you're in the Zoom room, please raise your little Zoom hand that's on the bottom. Commissioner Sheta, you have a question?
It's I didn't hear a response to my comment regarding the renting of parking spaces. I did ask whether you had rental parking on site previously.
Just say that, sorry.
Yeah, and if the answer is yes, please, I believe this needs to stop, and we need an assurance that it's not going to happen in the future.
Commissioner Shet, I need to absolutely ask for clarification on that. I was unaware of that particular sign, but I will tell you that that's a condition that will be met. There's no, there's no reason to consider renting anything there. I don't know if that's an old sign or whatever. I'm not even aware of it, to be upfront with you.
Most likely it is.
But the case is that will not be something that will be associated with this location.
Yes, the sign I'm referring to is an old sign, apparently. It's shown on one of the Google Street Views, but it's not in the photos that you submitted. So I would assume that it's an old photo or it's an old sign, and maybe it's removed. But we want to make sure that it's, even if it happened in the past, it's not going to happen in the future.
I will absolutely say that will be the case, but would you require a note on the drawings or just an acknowledgement that that is not the case?
It's up to the board.
Maybe a condition.
Yeah.
I think that we would put that as a condition. But if I understand it, this is like a whole new operation. Is it going to be a completely new operator and all of, or is it the same operator with a facelift?
The present and the future operators are the same.
Okay.
But they are widely improving all of their locations, and this happens to be one. And just to be totally clear, it's top to bottom, corner to corner of this particular property. Everything will be scrubbed brand new, and I think will be an absolute asset aesthetically to the community.
Okay, we will probably put that as a condition.
Fine.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
We haven't heard anything from no public has chimed in.
Just a minute, yeah.
Mr. Catrona, how much time do you need to make these corrections?
Vice Chair, I think 30 days would be, I need to work with some of the consultants to be able to ensure that we have the canopy plans, lighting plans, and all of that there. So
And the lighting plans, I have to say, I am a proponent of simplifying it. I don't think we need to see 3-foot, 6-foot analysis. We just want to see like gridded analysis of what the lighting would be when the lights are on.
Yeah, because we don't have
and how it specifically impacts the residential.
Okay, yeah, because it's an existing condition, I have no way to go out there and do a study of it. So we're going to rely on metrics of the lighting that we're specifying, which will show that we're not, going over our
and also just add that note to the plan about the lighting. I mean, just as a precaution, the one that I read out.
Absolutely.
Vice Chair?
Yep.
Yeah, just to clarify.
Yes.
I'm sorry,
go ahead.
Commissioner Sheta, can you speak clearly?
Go ahead, Vice Chair.
No, go ahead, Commissioner Sheta. What were you saying?
Thank you. I just, for the purpose of clarification, that 3-foot and 6-foot analysis, I believe it's not possible when it comes to like the computer software analysis. It just could be done with the measurements. And since the board is not asking for measurements anymore, I don't think it's not just not needed, but it's not possible as well. So I just wanted to clarify this. Maybe somebody's listening and maybe he get confused. So wanted to make this clear. Just the standard 3 feet luminous spread using computer analysis. And I don't think lighting on this side would be an issue. Even if you use the existing light pool, it's very low. I wouldn't believe that it's going to shed significant light on the adjacent property.
Commission, everything will be new. So in addition to your comments, for sure, we'll take account of all of that there.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So we didn't hear anything back. We haven't heard, nobody called in. So 30 days, you said. We will get back to you as to when it will be scheduled for the next hearing.
Thank you very much. I want to thank everyone. And this is the first hearing that I'm on with Commissioner Yoon. I just want to acknowledge and say welcome. And thank you all. And I'll wait to hear and we'll respond accordingly. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Okay. You too, Mr. Control.
Thank you.
Vice Chair, do you want to go to the next case and take a break? Okay. Item number.
After that, we will take a break. After that, Cropsey.
Okay. Item number 17, 11211BZ, 2994 Cropsey Avenue, Brooklyn. This is an extension of term of a previously approved variance permitting the operation of a scrap metal yard, which expires on June 5th, 2022. Mr. Noriega.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and to respond honestly to board member questions?
I do.
Okay, you want to proceed? You heard the board's questions.
I did. Good afternoon, Vice Chair and Commissioners. My name is Frank Noriega. I'm here from Belk and Burden on behalf of the applicant Cropsey Scrap Iron and Metal. We listened to the review session this morning, and thankfully it doesn't sound like there's many comments about this site, but there are a few errors that need to be addressed. Specifically, the lot area on the zoning analysis form doesn't match what was actually calculated on the plans. It looks like it's just an error that this lot was reapportioned since the last time, so it doesn't show the larger 34,000 square foot lot. We can easily amend that. Graffiti, unfortunately, is a big problem at this site, and they're constantly having to paint over it and clean it. We were not aware that there was recent graffiti there, but I'm sure the client will be more than happy to go out there and paint over it as well. And then finally, the sign issue, the short answer is no, that wraparound sign was not included. We're more than happy to throw that in the calculation for the sign analysis form. We didn't include it because it's not technically on a street frontage. We have the sign calculation for the sign that's directly on Cropsey Avenue, a sign calculation for the sign directly on Bay 54th, but that portion that's referenced that wraps around the building is actually interior between the main building and the office building. It doesn't directly face a street. However, like was mentioned, this is a CA district. There's plenty of sign square footage available, and we're more than welcome to, or more than willing to show what that calculation would be and how we're well under the signage calculation.
That would be
Okay.
helpful, just to count for it.
Absolutely.
Okay. I think those were our questions. Any other questions or comments from the commissioners? All right, let's go to the public.
The case we are discussing currently is 11211BZ, 2994 Cropsey Avenue. This is an extension of term for a previously approved operation of a scrap metal yard. Should you wish to discuss, please dial in 646-558-8656 or our toll-free number 1-888-475-4499. You will enter the webinar ID number 874-4482-2148 and the pound sign. At the next prompt, you will press the pound sign. Then when you're in, you press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute if you are calling from the phone. And if you are in the Zoom room already, please raise your Zoom hand, which is the little sign, the little hand that is at the bottom of your screen.
Madam Vice Chair, our Deputy General Counsel has her hand raised.
Okay, Counsel General.
Thank you.
Vine. General Counsel. Actually, I
it's
think General Counsel Vine sounds better than Counsel General.
No,
Yeah.
Vice Chair, it's Sarpong, the Deputy Counsel. I just wanted to ask the applicant to please make sure, as he's already admitted, that there is a continuing issue of graffiti on this property. So if you could just include in the statement of facts or an operational plan, the property owner's plan to address continued graffiti or removing graffiti on the property, that would be extremely helpful. Thank you.
Okay. All right, that's doable. This on, I have to say, the applicant has been very responsive to prior boards, so and has been maintaining the site. So this is something that I do believe the applicant should be able to meet. So we can put that in the operational plan. And Mr. Noriega, please do include that.
Absolutely. I can include it in the statement of facts, or it is already noted that this is a prior condition to keep the site graffiti free. And again, we intend to do so, and the applicant has done their best to maintain it. It looks like this slipped through and they didn't catch it this time, but they will address it immediately, and will continue to do so as well.
Yes, appreciate it. We do appreciate every effort that your applicant, your client is taking to maintain the site. So how much time do you need to make these corrections?
Honestly, these are something we could probably address in a few days. If the board is willing, we could even close this and set this up for a decision. We could submit prior to decision if you are willing to do that.
Yeah, I would recommend closing it. Our schedule for the next 2 rounds of hearings is kind of very packed. So I cannot promise, but we will get back to you on that.
Absolutely. And we'll make sure to submit everything well before then.
Yes, do submit it as quickly as you can, but I'm not going to guarantee a date.
Perfect. Well, we'll wait to hear from you.
Okay. We have a few more minutes for anybody from public to call in. Seconds. Okay.
While we're waiting, sorry.
Go ahead. Go
Sorry, go
ahead, Commissioner.
I was just looking at my photos from my site visit, and while there is wraparound signage interior to the site, there is a small sign on Bay 54th. Again, the compliance is not the issue, is more just the acknowledgement and correcting the sign calculation for the record.
Well, I believe the calculation on Bay 54th is provided, but there's a total of 3 signs, one of which the wraparound portion was not included.
Okay.
But we will.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so I think the changes are not that major. You have to revise the zoning analysis sheet, the signage, just mention the operational plan, and what else? And I
Wanted
guess
to clean up the
anything.
graffiti?
Yes,
photo of the
and
graffiti?
clean graffiti. Yes, and clean up the graffiti.
Sounds good. We'll make sure that happens.
Yep. Okay, great. So make a motion to close.
Vice Chair Chanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you so much for your time.
thank you. It's good to
Thank
see you,
you.
Frank.
Good to see you. Take care.
Good to see you, Mr. Noriega.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Take care.
Okay, so do we want to, what do we want to do here?
So here's a question. Should we take a lunch break now? Or I'm looking towards, let's,
Sure.
Yes, Madam Vice Chair, we should break for lunch now and then we could
Yes,
begin the
12:21.
calendar cleanly.
okay, so 12:20, so let's meet 45 minutes from now. Okay,
Okay, put the sign up, Steve. We'll be back in 45 minutes. It's almost about. a little
it'll be
after
1:05.
1:05
1:05.
about, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, all the commissioners. Actually, were we supposed to meet at 1:05 or 1:10?
So 105.
Oh, 1:05, okay.
I marked down 105.
Okay, no, I just wanted to make sure.
I'll chat with people, tell them to come back.
Okay, that's okay, 1:05, but since we said 1:05, 1:05 it is.
It's 103 right now. People should be coming back.
1:05.
I believe everybody's here.
The commissioners are here?
Yeah.
Commissioners are here, so we can start.
Yeah.
Steve?
Told public 5, since we told public 1:05, do you want to just make sure?
It's 104. All right, we'll wait a minute.
Just wait a minute, because I don't want anybody to.
Lisa's in the room already. So.
Right, now it's 1:05.
Yep, we're live. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back on the record. Board of Standards and Appeals public hearing for October 17, 2022. We'll commence with the appeals calendar, continued hearing items, item number 18, 2020-58A, 2020-59A, 1012 Jasmine Way, Staten Island. This is a waiver of the General City Law, Section 36.
Hi, Elise Fuller from Eric Palatnik, PC. I spoke with the architect and he's not going to be on the call, so I will address some of those comments. So I'm going to start with, I guess, the comments from Commissioner Yoon in response to the board's comments regarding the parked cars and striping at the ambulance drop-off area and curb cut conditions. We're in the process of obtaining the DOB approval and permit to start construction on the new wraparound driveway, which was part of an application where we got an extension of time, if you remember, not too long ago. Commissioner Yoon probably doesn't remember, but the rest of the board. This will provide a separate entrance and exit for the parking lot and restrict the front area to only ambulance use. The DOB requested that the application be reinstated before the plan examiner approves it. And so we're hoping to have the reinstatement this week. And so it's a temporary situation, and we were trying to resolve having both that curb cut condition as well as the ambulances in that area. I hope that clarifies the comment. And then in terms of the other comment, Vice Chair Chanda, we listened to your review session and we'll review the record and what you had to say, and we will get back to the board as appropriate.
Okay. I think the comments are pretty simple. Just reflect those comments of FDNY onto the plan, and then meanwhile, I think the DP is still outstanding, right?
Yeah, and so we didn't know if the DP cared about having the internal water main approved or unapproved, but it is in the works. So, but we are waiting for sign off.
Yeah, I mean, you anyway have to file the EAS, so I think timing wise, it may just work out.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions or comments from commissioners? Okay, let's go to the public then.
The case we are currently discussing is 20/2058A and 59A, 1012 Jasmine Way, Staten Island. This is a waiver of General City Law, Section 36, for a building of a construction of 2 single-family homes on a property not fronting a Mack Street. Should you wish to discuss, dial 646-558-8656 or our toll-free number, which is 888-475-4499. You will enter the webinar ID number, which is 874-4482-2148, #. At the next prompt, you will press the # only. Once you are in, press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute if you are on the phone to speak, and if you are in the Zoom room already, please raise your Zoom hand, which is that small little hand at the bottom of your computer screen. Once you have been recognized, you will have 3 minutes to speak.
Okay. So Ms. Belader, how much time do you think it will be for you to submit the EAS, make all corrections to the plan, and how long do you think it will take for DEP?
I have no idea about DEP, the internal water main, everything's been pretty slow. But we want to review the record, as I stated. So maybe give us a month.
Okay.
And you have to file an EAS, right, on this?
We want to review the record and get back to you as appropriate.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I just want to say that should you choose not to file an EAS, I think the board will consider this to be an incomplete application.
And we understand your comments, and we're just going to, I'm sorry, I don't want to speak more on that right now. I just want to, we'll review the record and we'll speak amongst ourselves and we'll get back to you as appropriate.
Sure, I just kind of want to let you know.
Okay.
There are 2 paths, and one path shall lead to dismissal.
Understood.
Okay.
Almost. So.
Just a couple of more, I guess, seconds or a minute. All right. Okay.
How much time did she say she needed?
1 month.
1 month, okay. Just let me know. Thank you. Okay. Item number 19, new cases. 2022 4BZY 529 President Street, Brooklyn. This is Alexia Landsman.
I just want to make a brief statement. I reviewed my notes. I must have had a scrivener error with regard to the expenditure, so I withdraw my statement with regard to the expenditures.
Oh, I don't think the applicant was in the room when you said that, Vice Chair. Commissioner Sciabetta, sorry. No, that wasn't for you, Elise. It was the other. It's a new case. Okay.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes. Is there anyone with you, Alexia?
Just myself.
Okay, you can proceed. You heard the board's comments. Please proceed.
Yes.
Ms.
Yes,
Donnelly?
good afternoon, everyone. We did listen to the executive session. It appears that the only comment that was left outstanding was to provide a bit of clarification on the financials, which we'll be happy to provide before the next hearing. With that being said, it appears that there were no additional comments added. And if that's the case, we'd like to be able to put on the decision calendar if possible.
Okay. All right. Hold on. Yes.
Are you withdrawing your comments, Commissioner Shabbat, about the catering, or?
I am.
Oh, okay.
All right. Any other questions from any of the commissioners?
Someone has some background noise. Can they mute? I don't know who that is.
Okay. I think.
Okay.
Let's go to the public.
So the case we are currently discussing. Oh, okay. The case we are discussing is 2022 4BZY 529 President Street, Brooklyn. This is an extension of time to complete construction for a development commenced under a prior text amendment for the hotel text amendment. Should you wish to discuss, you can dial in 646-558-8656 or the toll-free number, which is 888-475-4499. You will then enter the webinar ID number 874-4482-2148. Press the pound sign. At the next prompt, you will press the pound sign only. Once you are in the room, press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute if you are on the phone, and if you are in the Zoom room already, please raise your Zoom hand, which is that little hand that is on the bottom of your screen. Once you have been recognized, you will have 3 minutes to speak. Clock starts now.
Ms. Landesman, how long will it take to make this correction?
Let's say 2 weeks.
Okay.
So this is revised chart, right, Alexia?
Right, I think it's
chart. What is it?
Yeah, just revising the chart and revising the statement of facts with regards to the expenditure. I think that's right. That's the only one.
Yes, I'm happy to do that.
Yep. Okay. We just need the clock to run out before I can make a recommendation to close.
Not a problem.
Oh, actually, do we have did the community vote?
Oh, yes, that's the other thing. Yeah, I reached out to the community board and they were supposed to get back. They have to get back to me. But I don't think you said there was no meeting, Alexia?
Right. No, we've submitted all of the paperwork to them, but it is a statutory vested rights case. So it's my understanding we met the findings that there should be no issue.
Understood, but community board is notified.
And they were notified.
Yes, I did. I understand. Okay. Clock is done.
Okay. All right. So I don't know the schedule as to where we stand on this. I cannot give you a date. We will get back to you on that. But in the meantime, I'll make a recommendation to close.
Okay. Sorry. 1 sec. Vice Chair Chanda?
Aye,
Oh, is that me that's doing that noise?
I think that's you.
No, I think somebody have their YouTube on or something like so again.
Oh, is that what it is? Somebody's got YouTube on? Oh. Commissioner Otley Brown?
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta?
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta?
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Alexia. Look at that.
Everyone, have a great day.
Thank you.
Item number 20, 2022 7BZY 3875 11th Street, Queens.
Hi, I should have Stuart on.
Stuart Letterer.
Yeah.
Stuart, could you join as panelists? Okay, so he answered. Okay. Could you join as panelists, Mr. Letterer, and put your video
Yes.
on?
I'm here.
Good. Thank you. Okay. No, it's still an AK, so you don't have to, but you
Oh.
heard the board's comments, Ms. O'Fullader? Do you want to respond?
Okay, no problem. Elise Fullader from Eric Palatnik PC. I have here with me Stuart. He's the principal of this development, just in case we need to speak with him. We heard your comments about costs. We will simplify and we'll reach out to council to clarify further which costs should be counted and which costs should not be counted, and hopefully make that much easier to understand throughout all our documents. And we can provide additional photographs. Stuart is here if you have any additional questions, but we don't think we can clarify that on the fly here. I think we need to look through our costs and speak with council.
Okay. Okay. I think that was
Please, I'll defer to you. So I have no comments other than what you ask of me.
Thank you so much.
I think the direction is pretty simple. You do make the findings. It's just that the documentation for the purposes of the record needs to be just cleaned up.
Yeah, we understand that. Sorry for any confusion.
No, and I think it's basically leftover from prior directions. So we're I think we are all in a better position and have a better understanding of what really to look out for. So I think we can get that information in through the simple set of directions that Commissioner Otley Brown provided, and going forward, that is something we would put that into a more formalized way. But until then, please do follow that direction.
Right, thank you.
And if you have any applications in the pipeline right now, this is to all the applicants who are dealing with vesting cases, statutory. If you have similar applications, if you want to simplify it, this would be the time to do it.
Okay, I understand. I think we have one more, so I'll double check that.
Okay.
Yeah, which I need to respond to.
Yeah. Any questions or comments from the commissioners? Okay, let's go to the public.
Okay, we are currently discussing 2022 7BZY. Address is 3875 11th Street, Queens. This is an extension of time under section 11332 to complete construction of development commenced to the prior text amendment. Should you have any questions, any comments, please dial 646-558-8656 or the toll-free number, which is 888-475-4499. You will enter the webinar ID number as 874-4482-2148 #. At the next prompt, you will only press the #. Once you're in the Zoom room, press *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute if you are on the phone. If you are in the Zoom room already, please raise your Zoom hand, which is that little hand at the bottom of your computer screen. Once you are recognized, you will have 3 minutes to speak. Clock starts now. How much time?
I think that in 2 weeks we can, right, Stuart, to get our numbers together and review them and clarify?
Yes, I think that's right.
Okay. All right, we will confirm a date.
Okay, sounds good.
And after the 3 minutes over, I'll make a recommendation to close.
Thank you.
Almost done.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh, wait,
so-
there's someone in the waiting room? I'm sorry. Stephanie Molenthal, I apologize, Vice Chair. Are you here to speak about any case? There's someone in this room here, Stephanie Molenthal. Yeah, your hand is up. We can allow you in, but only if you're calling about, this is 11th Street. This is the vesting case?
That's not what I'm calling, that's not what I'm calling in about.
Oh,
I'm calling in about a different case.
What was the case? Maybe we missed you? You could submit written testimony.
2021-14-BZ.
What is it?
2021-14-BZ. Boy Zebra.
Oh, Victory Boulevard. That's on for tomorrow.
Yeah.
You'll have to call in tomorrow, Ms. Molenthal.
Is it the same Zoom link?
You can go on our website. It's a different Zoom number. It's the same link, but the different number.
Yeah, I will give you let me give you the Zoom number for tomorrow.
Oh, I was just gonna do, go ahead, Vice Chair.
The webinar ID number is 837-9537-1010. The passcode is 886872. You can dial in 646-558-8656.
So it's on the screen and that's the number. And it's number 26. So it would be in the, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There it is.
Okay,
Yeah. Thank you for your patience. I'm sorry we didn't catch you earlier. I apologize.
that's okay. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
You put your Zoom in.
Okay.
Do you want to do motion closed?
Motion to close, and you have to just revise the statement of facts and findings and just a financial document.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion to close.
Vice Chair Chanda?
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown?
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta?
Aye.
Commissioner Shibata?
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon?
Aye.
Application is closed. Anything else? No more further questions? Anything? Okay, this concludes the public hearing for October 17, 2022. We're resumed tomorrow.